loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor.
They try to save with Horford. Unbelievable. Boston first to the floor. So good. Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Got it. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
Welcome into another episode of First to the Floor. Ben Vallis here. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Alongside me, a man who has never once cared about the NBA Cup. It's Jake Eisenberg. Jake, how we doing, man?
I never wanted to go through. I wasn't living and dying with Tom Thibodeau's decisions to maybe keep in Jalen Brunson when the starters are up 30. Alas, things have probably worked out incredibly well for the Celtics as per usual. So, yeah, it's good times.
Yeah, we'll get to the cupcake schedule that we've now found ourselves with a little bit later. But tonight, the many moods, the many forms of Payton Pritchard, parlay P, post-up P, pull-up P, penetration P. We're going to explore the many facets of PP and what makes him so awesome. I was going to try and work in a shaft joke there, but it just didn't come to me.
Early days.
Then a little bit later. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'll say, yeah, look, 90 seconds in 4 minutes from now, it's going to be easy money.
Shafts aplenty. Shafts ahoy. Anyway, later, Tatum's Player of the Month awards, the adjusted anti-cup schedule like we mentioned, and whatever else we get to along the way. But first, let's just get into what's listed on our run sheet here as 50 Shades of Payton Pritchard. I don't know, like how would you tee up this segment, Jake? Like, I guess just naturally we have to devote like segment A to Payton Pritchard because he's just been undeniably awesome thus far.
He is the story for the Celtics right now. Like, you know, we've got Rivens in the chat, and him and Noah Dalzell are co-owners of a majority share of Payton Pritchard Island. They have multiple resorts already built before anyone was there. And they look vindicated right now. Like the infamous Noah Dalzell tweet that Payton Pritchard has all-star potential that she got absolutely flamed for is looking all-star potential as well. It's not he's going to be an all-star. It's like just he has the inklings, the shades of an all-star. And right now, man, like he really looks like an all-star. I can't say he's an all-star because the talent's so insane. I don't need to get too crazy, but this run that he's on right now, like 4 straight games of 20 plus, and like that's why we're talking about Payton Pritchard, because one, he's just playing incredible, but two, like it's just like kind of a big deal for the Celtics if whatever this is even 90% real, 80% real. And like we're 21 games into the season now, and he's like exceeded all expectations.
Chat is going off with the P words, by the way. Shout out to everyone joining us in the chat. Yeah, it feels like it's dependent on the ceiling that we set on him in terms of minutes load. I know we'll get to some Drew stuff later, which kind of feeds into this, and some 6 Man of the Year stuff. And, you know, in terms of if he doesn't make an all-star team, there's a very good chance, maybe the best chance of all players currently, that he will make 6 Man of the Year.
Give it to him now. Like the guy whoever engraves the trophies, just get your work done early. Like this thing is over.
Get into that engraving shop and get engraving, which is not engraving talk at all. But anyway, I digress. So websites like Synergy and NBA Stats and Cleaning the Glass, they allow us to break down a player based on various categories, play categories, shot categories, defensive categories. And what we've done is we've gone through, we've plucked a few, we've highlighted some weaknesses as well. So it's not all just green shaded glasses. And we've assigned a P word to each of them to run through a bunch of different stats as to why Payton Pritchard is awesome. So Jake, I'm just going to rattle off a few here, but I'm going to need you to interject so it's not just like stat heavy, too stat heavy. So perimeter P, in other words, isolation P, 1.22 points per possession, which is insane. Good for 93rd percentile, 65 true shooting percentage, which is better than Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, Kyrie Irving, Giannis Antetokounmpo, to say a few. Just insane efficiency from P here. Yeah. Efficiency P.
I mean, obviously the volume is like drastically lower than all of these players. Like he's like currently averaging 0.9 isolations per game. At least that's what I looked at recently. I wonder if I was to filter that to the last like 5 to 10 games, if that number comes up a little bit. Like he's definitely in the Cavs game had some moments. Definitely in the Heat game. I mean, Tyler Hero. He had Tyler Hero like touching the ground and falling over, and Pritchard was talking shit to Hero, to Spo, as he was cooking him in isolation, possession after possession. Yeah, man, you can just chuck it to this guy at the moment, and it's not just pull-ups and step-backs. Like, he's now burrowing into dudes. Like, I don't know, there's a little bit of a wombat to his game. Like, he just gets the body. You know, he gets right into the defender, and they just off balance because he's so low to the ground that, like, you know, it's to use a football term, his pad level is so low. Like, the low man always wins. That's just science, Ben. And his P is pretty much touching the ground, which, I mean, that thing can touch from pretty much anywhere. But he's just so low, and these defenders, like, I mean, Larson, the next creator character that the Heat have drafted, he had him like slipping back as well. He's Alec Burke straight to the chest. Darius Garland in the Cavs game. It's so impressive. Wombats aren't real from Matthew Bell in the chat. Don't make me go outside and bring one in here right now.
Yeah, tell that to my car. To my destroyed wheel and tire from several years ago. Wombats are very real. Yeah, Payton Pritchard, that thing's dragging along the ground even when he's hanging from the rim. Let's be honest. But we'll get to penetration P a little bit later, but sticking around the perimeter, pull-up P, who we know and love, who I think is a formation of Payton Pritchard that came to fruition like early in his tenure as a Celtic. Do it. Go and get it, Wombat. We'll wait, Jake. He'll be gone in like 5 seconds.
Shout out the late night crew, man. This is 4:30 in the morning for the Americans, so I'm always interested I know there's a few Aussies in the chat right now, so I'm assuming the people who don't believe in Wombats or Australia aren't from Australia. So let us know where you're from.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Pull-up P, 1.16 points per shot. A synergy shot rating of excellent, which I believe is the highest honor bestowed upon players by Synergy. 37% field goal percentage on pull-up threes, which is a crazy high percentile ranking across the league. And 66% on pull-up twos, which is a new addition to his game. This ability to pump fake guys on closeouts, get into that sort of mid-range pocket, but like that short mid-range, and then kind of fade back and just get that little glimmer or that little window of space to get his shot off. And he's like crazy efficient, 66% on those pull-up twos. A nice addition to his game, Jake.
Yeah, look, a lot of this, and, you know, Ribbons pointed out in the chat here that I bestowed upon him the title of Payton Pritchard's marketing manager last season, and man, you've done a great job. And look, part of this is clearly either the green light. I always feel like he had the green light last season, but the green light is even greener than last year. But I think it's partly he's got the green light, and partly he's just got the confidence as well. And like, he came off the bench. He missed his first shot. It was a 26 foot pull up jump shot. But like the next possession, he hit a catch and shoot three from 31 feet. So like that was all within him being in the game in under a minute. So he's coming off the bench and immediately having the confidence and the willingness to bomb from anywhere at any time. So that's obviously the pull up stuff. And because he has that range, you know, he's a little still limited with how he's able to break guys down off the dribble based on his athleticism. But like, because the range is so far out, like defenders, he kind of creates more space for himself to work with. And so he's kind of just setting defenders up with this ridiculous range on the pull-up, and that's leading to the ability to get into the paint and then take little step backs and mid-range shots that we were kind of begging him to take a little bit more of last season. And to see him now, and this is why, because I'm 100% confident in his ability to knock down any type of jump shot from anywhere on the court. So if he's able to get even a slither of space, just go for it.
Yeah, and confidence is his superpower. Like, misses don't fuck with him. Like you said, he missed his first look with, maybe, I wouldn't say he takes too long to warm up in these games, but maybe he takes 1 or 2 shots before he enters into like God mode P. And he's like consistently ascending to that level in each game. And these early misses, which, might affect someone like the Jason Tatums of the world, for example, are not affecting pull-up P in any way, shape, or form. And for him to add that additional like mid-range, like dribble, drive, pull-up element to his game is just so elite. And he's just such a baller. He's just so good for those shots. Again, Jason Tatum, like frustratingly inefficient from the mid-range. Sorry, I don't want to turn this into like a shit on Jason Tatum podcast because I love Jason Tatum more than anybody. But yeah, Payton Pritchard, like you know what I'm talking about though, Jake. Like when Tatum pulls up from mid-range, you're like, oh, I don't know, that's like not been his shot as of late. Whereas with Pritchard, you're like, guaranteed cash money, like sign the check that is going in right now.
Yeah, look, if we could transfer the actual shooting ability from Payton Pritchard to Jason Tatum would become the greatest player of all time. Like to give Tatum, the 6'9" guy, Payton Pritchard's shooting capabilities would be a little bit unfair. I mean, to Tatum's credit, he did hit a bunch of mid-range jump shots in the Cavs game, but it has been a shot that he's been pretty much sub 30% all season long. So you're not wrong there. But yeah, man, he's getting into the mid-range, getting deep from beyond the arc. Doesn't really matter where he's pulling up from. P's knocking him down.
P's knocking him down. Post up P. So we'll get by this one very quickly. No post up possessions per stats.nba.com. Synergy says there have been 2, and we've scored off both of them. I think they were assisted by a posting up P. But we do not post up P very often. Low sample size says that it's an incredibly efficient look for the Celtics. But unsurprisingly, we do not post up P very often. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's actually the secret. Kristaps had one of the most efficient options in the NBA last year with his post-ups, but maybe this is the untapped potential. But no, I when I looked at NBA stats and I was like, I can't find any from Payton Pritchard. So, which look does kind of make sense because I think he's listed at 6'1", which I don't know if that's accurate or not. He looks a little bit shorter to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, 6'1" in the JB 741s maybe. But we'll move on to pliability P, which is a fancy way. And please, folks in the chat, let me know if there's an alternative to like defensive P. Pliability P is just like his ability to like remain upstanding in a defensive stance, I guess. So opposing teams, these are some spicy stats. Opposing teams are shooting 2 of 12 against Payton Pritchard in isolation situations, 3 of 10 in post-up situations. So the odd situation where they do isolate Payton Pritchard and including post-up situations, teams remain inefficient in those looks. Small sample size, like 12 attempts in isolation so far, quarter of the way through the season, 10 attempts in post-up, quarter of the way through the situation. I think speaks really highly of the team's ability to like scram switch Payton Pritchard out of those situations. And you see whoever our defensive anchor is, whether it's Tatum, whether it's Al, less so with KP because he's kind of new back into the rotation, but you can hear them through the rim mic, like calling out, like, get out of that P, and they scram switch him out and get him out of those situations. But when he is unfortunately caught up in those defensive situations, incredibly efficient as well. Any thoughts on that, Jake?
He's just become a good defender. Like, he had a really nice steal on Bam Adebayo. I could kind of see it coming a mile away and picked his pocket. He's really sturdy. Like, he's really good at keeping himself in front of guys and getting his hands in there. Like, he just makes it really hard on dudes. And he is an example of why I get really annoyed with players like Trae Young and Tyrese Halliburton. Darius Garland, I give him credit. He at least fights. But like players that clearly have some physical limitations, but don't do everything in their power to max out whatever their defensive potential is. And Payton Pritchard is doing whatever he can to make whatever the shot the opponent is taking over him, he's going to make it as difficult as possible for them. And like, that's all you can ask for. And I would love to know, I would love to get the story on his like workout routine or his, like, we got the men's health videos from Jalen in the offseason looking like a fucking superhero. I bet Payton Pritchard's working just as hard. And I would love to know, like, the strength metrics or the size and weight metrics of Pritchard, and if he's improved in those areas, because it looks like to me both offense and defense that he has. Like, dudes, unless they're a lot bigger, don't have a ton of success just moving him off his spot.
I bet it's frustratingly simple. I bet he's just like, I just eat like Cheetos like on the sideline, my local asphalt court, and just like ball out. And when guys try to post me up, I just like nut tap them in a way that the refs can't see, or something brutally frustrating, but like very much aligned with his like pure hooper existence and mentality. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, I would love to know the regime and the routine, because I need to get me some of that, because yeah, suffice to say, if you posted me up, it's easy money for the opposition.
Yeah, look, my post up defensive efficiency at my rec league is not that good, especially post ankle injury. But I got to get on that Pritchard program.
Shout out to Playability P. Pace
Pressure
P.
Pressure P was okay from Muzz.
Pressure P. Yeah, we had a couple. Protective P. Preventative P.
Preventative P. There we go.
Prophylactic P. Contraceptive P. I love to see it. Keep the suggestions coming. This is great. I love this. I love that we're doing a Payton Pritchard deep dive legitimately like a quarter
I know.
of the way
And this is what's crazy is we did a Payton Pritchard deep dive as our first deep dive of like the Patreon, and we were like, some of these numbers will probably come down. And 10 games later, I think the numbers have just all gone up, and he's just getting better. So I don't know. We had to do another one.
And a lot of the stuff for the Patreon is like some of the niche angles as well that we wouldn't normally put on like the sort of public facing show. And now like Payton Pritchard is mainstream. Like he was just on ESPN with Malika Andrews less than 24 hours ago as well.
That's
like
crazy,
he is mainstream NBA pop culture, which is crazy. Performative P. Pace P. 37% on transition threes. This is just the dude dribbling in transition, defense in chaos mode. Where is Payton Pritchard? Doc Rivers waving from the sideline. Where the fuck is Payton Pritchard? Get on his ass and pull up from three. 37% all day. 47% from the right wing as well. So like, do not let P get one off on the right wing in transition, Jake.
That's from the TD Garden logo too. I swear he's hit like 4 or 5 shots from like.
Yeah, couldn't find those metrics.
Right on the TD, he's like 100%. I'm pretty sure. And the transition numbers, I'm not surprised. I mean, all the numbers are good, but like he thrives in the chaos a little bit. He's very quick to lose balls. Anytime there's a little breakdown by anyone, he's ready to pounce and try and take advantage. Any slither, he's ready to threaten and make you pay. And so these numbers, and I feel like guys really look for him. Like on the break, he's spraying out to the wing. And again, because of his range, he also makes like finishing in transition as the ball handler if you're Jalen or Jason even easier, because defenders are like, fuck, I got to guard this guy all the way on the bench, essentially. Yeah, not surprising that the transition numbers are good as well.
We're going to come back in a moment and talk about penetration P. But first, we're going to get to another form of PP, and that is our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 200 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Tomorrow night, I'm taking more on Payton Pritchard points. I think we all know why. It's very on brand for the season. It's very on brand for this ad read. It's very on brand for this podcast. Taking more on Payton Pritchard points. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Jake, penetrative P.
What up?
Should we get into it?
Pickpocket P from Jazz in the chat.
Hey,
that's fucking,
there we go.
That's fucking elite right there. Shout out the chat. Cooking as per usual. Penetrative P. Yeah, man.
You want to run us through some stats here?
Yeah, man. Where are we here? Yeah, look, 4.2 drives per game. That's pretty nice numbers, man. 77% field goals. Yeah, he's got the Wombat boost now. I'm like, this is a thing. And so he's getting his body into guys. He also had this play in the Heat game. He did the Jaylen Brown step through as well. Got into the lane, like got to 2 feet, pump fake, got the defender up, and then stepped through, finished with the left hand. And Jaylen Brown after the game was talking about, yeah, Pritchard's been fucking copying my moves, getting in my bag. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. And just thinking about it, like how much does playing one-on-one against, it sounds like Jalen's like the main guy he's really worked with over the years, but obviously Jalen and Jason, he's been there now. Pritchard's 5th year, and he's been playing one-on-one with these guys over and over and over again. Like clearly he's picking up some stuff from those guys as well, and like having to go against those two guys and Marcus and Drew probably bearing some fruit. Like there's the famous story from Pritchard that he flies out like XD1 guys and pro players are just like come and play him one-on-one for hours on end. And that's probably contributed to his ridiculous penetrating skills.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's maybe a good like all-star break pod is like PP lore, like all of these like stories that have come out about Pritchard in the last few years of just like how much of a legendary baller he is. I know Drew Holiday had a story on a TV spot or a podcast recently where he said one of the most difficult drills they are run through during training camp and during practice is just like you just have to was it either you have to pick up Pritchard full court or he has to pick you up full court? I think it was the former.
It's like you got to the ball handler. Everyone's picking up the ball handler. You got to try and like deal with them full court, which to me is kind of like Terry Rozier thing. Like that was why Danny Ainge loved Rozier, was like he was elite at that like scout draft drill, and I guess Pritchard is really good at it.
Absolutely. Pick and roll P. So as the pick and roll ball handler, we're ruling out Pritchard as the screener, obviously for obvious reasons, diminutive P. As the ball handler, 99th percentile. Jesus. Pretty damn good in points per possession ranking per synergy. Good for 76.4 true shooting percentage. So any pick and roll action. So this broad strokes, but any pick and roll action with PP as the ball handler, we're getting buckets like the majority of the time. And compared to his peers, obviously huge array of elite pick and roll ball handlers in the NBA right now. Pritchard is like elite among that class. Amazing. I
don't even know what to say, dude. This is so insane. But yeah, matches the eye test. Like he's just getting really comfortable. He's getting good at putting guys in jail. And back to what I said earlier, I feel like last season his assist to turnover ratio was so like that's definitely come down. Actually, I would have to look, but I'm like pretty confident that has come down pretty significantly. But like he wasn't being that aggressive, I didn't feel like last season. And now like in the pick and roll, he is just like he's hunting for any shot, and he's like really compromising the defense, which is leading to more high value assists. Yeah, Pritchard's assist to turnover this year is 3-1, which is still elite. And I'm pretty sure last year it was like 4.5-1. 4.6-1 last season. So that's gotten worse. But like I think that has to do with the way that he's playing, and that level of aggression is exponentially different this year. And you would definitely trade the 4.6 assist to turnover ratio for the 3.0 assist to turnover ratio and everything you're getting from Pritchard this year. But yeah. And he's getting more comfortable and just more aggressive in that pick and roll.
Yeah, and like all of this is high sample size. Anything that was like super low sample size, like not valid to draw any conclusions from, I've excluded from these stats. And I think the pick and roll P aspect was like particularly high sample size in terms of pick and roll possessions per game with Pritchard as the ball handler. The other thing is pin down P. So Pritchard like coming off screens. Right, this is the last P. Unless
it's
people in the chat,
how much it works.
Yeah, well, shout out to Drew Carter who just like cooks the P word all game with Scowl cackling next to him, just unsure of like how to deal with all the P words flying at him. But pin down P. So this is Payton Pritchard like flying off screens again. 99th percentile points per possession ranking, shooting off screening actions. This is maybe the stat of the night, Jake. I don't even know how this is mathematically possible. 112.5% true shooting percentage. Payton Pritchard efficiency off screening actions per synergy.
Yeah, that's pretty good, I think.
2 points per possession.
That's insane. That's literally insane. Like,
I know.
I don't.
Again.
But it makes sense. Like
Just sample size wise, just very quickly,
Sure.
16 attempts.
Yeah.
This is like maybe below the cutoff a little bit. 16 attempts so far this season, but insanely high efficiency, so it had to be included.
And obviously small sample size and 112% true shooting is probably unsustainable. But I do think that the off-ball aspect of his game would be something that I'm sure he will continue to work on because he works on everything. But like what Steph Curry does, where he gives up the ball and then like runs the marathon and then comes and gets it, and that's just over and over and over again. I do think that tapping into that style of off-ball play for Pritchard at some point could become part of the Celtics offense a little bit more. Like Jared McCain's gotten a lot of props for the Sixers this year for just like throwing it to someone, relocating. It's really hard as a defender, when especially when you're defending the Celtics, when there's so many threats out there already, and now you've also got to like keep your head on a swivel for Payton Pritchard that's throwing and relocating and coming off handoffs and just constantly moving. And by the way, he can also shoot from like Steph Curry range, and that's not really hyperbole at this point. So obviously small sample size, but this is definitely a weapon that I think that he really should try to hone over the next couple of years, because that doesn't take necessarily a ton of athleticism and size. Like it's more just effort and will, I think. Steph Curry is one of the best conditioned athletes in the NBA, and he's more athletic than Pritchard, but so much of that is just continuous movement and wearing the opponent down over and over and over.
Any honorable mentions, Jake? Probing P is one I haven't thrown out there, which is just like Pritchard gnashing through the lane, keeping his dribble alive, creating additional opportunities as he sort of fades through the paint there. Probing P. Pissed off P is not something that we've really seen of. He's so locked in. He's even mentioned after games and post-game interviews, he kind of blacks out during some of those moments. I think maybe we saw pissed off P a little bit as far as like his gesturing towards Spo, awesome. But for the most part, like he's pretty ice cold.
Yeah, I can't. There's too many favorites, man. It's like choosing my favorite Pokemon. It's tough. Speaking, I didn't mean to do another P word, but there it is. I do have a question for you, Ben. One, does the rocket ship return home from space at any point? Do we come back down from Mars and we land in the moon and we come back down to the atmosphere at any point? And that's like the broader question. And then like he's playing so well, is there going to potentially be an argument for him closing some of these games over Drew Holiday?
Yeah, and I would add as an extension to that, like playoff P is he going to be so prominent in the scouting report now that he is just like attacked relentlessly? I haven't seen very many teams, and I already talked about how good we are at keeping him out of those dangerous situations. I felt like the Chicago Bulls actually did, of all the teams we've faced thus far, a really good job of actually targeting Payton Pritchard successfully, but there's some variables there, like our defense was like obviously not locked in. We let them score a fuckload of points, but I thought the Bulls did a pretty good job of attacking him. Will the rocket ship return to the moon? It's so difficult for me to evaluate this because I'm looking at it through these green colored glasses, and I'm like not factoring in other just like hot runs through NBA history where guys had like good 20, 30, 40 game stretches. 20-ish games does feel like a nice chunky sample size where you can start to look at least in the vacuum of a season, like what's real and what isn't. And he hasn't come down to Earth or rocket ship down to the moon, to use your phrase.
Going further out to space.
Exactly. We can't even spot it with the fucking telescope at this point, Jake. It's just it's intergalactic at this point. It's planetary. So I don't know if it's shout out the Beastie Boys. I don't know if it is going to come down to Earth. I think he might be off to the races here, Jake.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Like, hopefully it never comes back. Like, and even if it does, like it's cryptocurrency is going crazy right now, and they have like these crazy runs, and they crash, but they're kind of always just like still going to the moon, one way or another. And Pritchard, like Sure, and like there's nights, right? Like he had 4 games in a row here where he was incredible, and the night before he was 3 of 7. It's crazy. Like you look at all like the game logs. There's very few games where he doesn't go off, and if you literally just filter out his first game, he was 1 for 10 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3, and like from then, very few games where he wasn't fantastic. There was a Charlotte game, he was 1 for 6, 0 for 5, but for the most part, he's just having these like 4-game bunches. It's pretty much, there's like now 3 4-game bunches where he goes off from between 15 and 28 up to 29 in some of these spots as well. And that's just such a crazy valuable weapon to have coming off the bench. Crazy powerful weapon to have no matter where they're coming from, bench or the starting lineup. Drew, had a look at the numbers because like Drew's obviously not played awesome by his standards this year. Pritchard on the court, Drew off the court, 13.98 net rating. Drew on, Pritchard off, 15.19 net rating. So better with Drew. Essentially, it is what you would expect. The offensive rating is almost 130 with Pritchard on and Drew off, and it's at 121 with Pritchard off and Drew on, which is still fucking insane. So, and then defensive rating with Drew on, Pritchard off is 106. Pritchard on, Drew off is 116. And that is kind of the answer. As bad as Drew, and Drew is, look, he's averaging 12 points a game on 57% true shooting. Like, it's just like totally fine. And defensively, Drew's probably still been our best defender this season, even if it's a dip to last year, because pretty much everyone's defense has kind of taken a dip this year. I can't quite make the argument still, even though Pritchard's been this insane, to have him close over Drew. Maybe in some moments, if Drew's really struggling again, the question does come to the forefront. But teams are still guarding Drew as if he is a knockdown shooter, and that's kind of the biggest thing. Teams, no one's helping off Drew Holiday in the corner or on the wing. So that, as long as that's happening, the spacing's still going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah, and I feel like Drew's shot has to come back around at some point. Just we're talking about sample size all podcast long, huge. Just look at essentially all of last season. I know we got off to a slow start last year, but for the most part, Drew was one of the most, if not the most efficient 3-point shooters in the entire league. So I expect that to come back, and maybe the offensive rating side of things for Drew to creep back as well. But defensively, there's just no argument that Drew Holiday, one of the best perimeter defenders maybe ever, is going to lower that defensive rating to the point where it's going to be difficult to make the argument for anyone to close over Drew Holiday at that point guard position. I think where my mind wanders there, and this is difficult because right now we're in our prime as Celtics fans of this generation, just won a championship, favorites to win a championship again, but the mind does wander to this sort of post 2025 world where we do have to slash the cap sheet a little bit, and okay, that will suck. Obviously, if Drew Holiday is one of the candidates to be moved elsewhere, but Payton Pritchard, obviously what he lacks on defense, he can obviously kind of almost completely make up for. It was Pritchard on, Drew off, 13.9 net rating, you said. Drew on, Pritchard off, really 15. Good. So very close. Pritchard can almost make up for it offensively. So if that rocket ship doesn't come back to the moon or Earth, as you say, Jake, maybe we can plug that gap to some degree. I'm not saying that Payton Pritchard can replace Drew Holiday. Obviously, he can't. But can we just plug some of the gaps with Selly's no gaps? Just plug the holes to stop the ship from sinking with Pritchard and Drew gone. I think maybe we can a little bit there. So it's exciting for the future in that sense. Yeah.
I think the offense will be better with Pritchard on and Drew off. I think that's true now, probably for forever. Just partly with Drew being older. We'll see. Maybe Drew does the Al Horford thing and becomes a monster again in the playoffs, which I wouldn't rule out. But
no, not at all.
But yeah, I think that's all I got on our guy.
Solid 34 minutes. Priority P. We love P. Maybe we can leave it there for the Pritchard stuff. But hopefully Drew Carter, friend of the pod, trying to get the guy back on the show. Maybe he draws some inspiration for additional P words in the future. Speaking of P, Drew Peterson.
Hey.
Littlefoot.
Hey, look at this. I'm no Ben Vallis, but I did pull this together. Here he is.
Look at that. That's perfect, man. Couldn't have done it better myself.
If you're not watching on YouTube, we've got The Land Before Time and Littlefoot on the main screen. Drew Peterson looking beautiful. Yeah, look, I don't think we need to do too much on Drew Peterson, but it is quite notable that he has played 25 minutes in back-to-back games. If you would have told me that before the season, I would have been quite surprised. And I thought he played quite well. I don't think he was incredible. He can clearly shoot the ball. I think that's like he's a shooter. Defensively, like the rest of our white guys, they try really hard. But I think, and he wasn't a disaster defensively, but I wouldn't describe him as a good defender by any means. But I kind of like the archetype of who he is. Like he can handle the ball, he can shoot it, and he battles, and he's long and can rebound. It's interesting. The bigger takeaway from me is almost just like the disappointment that he kind of outplayed Walsh yesterday, which hurt me.
I'm glad you said it. Someone had to say it. Yeah. The fact that he's not Walshy hurts me every day of my life of this Drew P situation, which is really just the last couple of days. It's crazy how much he just like looks like a guard with some sort of graphical glitch in the sort of neck upwards area. And really, the neck is really. I know you guys have been all over this, but
Dude,
it's doing so much work for him. But you know, as far as like his base and his foundation defensively, like the neck is not involved. So it's not a factor. But I guess as far as like height, his ability to see above defenses and see above contests and things like that, it's maybe an advantage. So
there we go.
Walshy, please find your shot because I still love you slightly more. But just glad to see. But glad to see Brad just like hit as well. It's like even these like very outer rim potential, mostly playing in main guys like Brad Stevens, you can still like celebrate his scouting ability there. So you love to see it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure I can go all the way and call him a hit quite yet, but knowing Brad Stevens is literally touched by God or he is Lucifer, I'm not sure which one he is, but he is one of the divine creatures. Like knowing that is a fact, then Drew Peterson most likely becomes the next sixth man of the year, just on Brad's track record at the moment.
Of course, absolutely. Jason Tatum, other end of the spectrum, player of the month for the Eastern Conference in the NBA, 28, 9, and 6 on 60% true shooting. And, had that 17-point third quarter against the Cavs a couple of nights ago. We unfortunately lost, but like, dude has been on fire. Unquestionably, the best iteration of Tatum we've ever seen is the Tatum we have right now. And, as a Celtics fan, coming away from the discourse from last year's playoffs, like that's just such a good feeling for him to sort of be unquestionably ascending to that level where he's like kind of consistently in the MVP conversation with the caveat that like no matter what you do, Joker is just like on another level and you can't quite catch him. But as far as that second tier, he's like absolutely like upper echelon. And I just love that the fact that he's doing it and KP being out probably helps with this side of the discourse as well. But what he's doing now in this season after last year, I think is basically all but nullified any of that anti-Jason Tatum discourse at this point.
Yes, at this point, he has, and I've really noticed it too on like shows and even on like meme Twitter and the trolls. Like the trolls are getting hungry. Like the punches do not have the same power anymore online. Like he's just been too good, and you see him basically unanimously as the second or third or fourth best player so far this season. It's like Jokic, Giannis, Shea, and Tatum have been easily the best four players. Anthony Davis is in that conversation as well. So, and like two things are true. One, like the haters have no firepower, but two, he's also playing the best basketball of his career. And so like it is going hand in hand. I will say he still has some of that like the hate didn't come from absolutely nowhere. He still has some of that nonsense in him. Like yesterday in the Heat game was one of the most embarrassing games I've seen him play. Like he immediately came out and was just like rocketing passes all over the court. Like end of the game, he tried to fix his shooting percentages. He missed like 4 more shots, had another turnover. Like it's it's really funny. Like he still like will just have games like that. I still think it's technically better that he plays because he still gives you the rebounding. He still gives you the gravity and
yeah.
Like he was actually still shooting well from 3 until he decided to shoot some nonsense threes at the end of the game. But I finished a highlight video from the month this afternoon that I'll put up tomorrow on Twitter. And man, it's smooth, man. He's a fun player to watch, especially this season. He's been doing it all 3 levels. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, this has been the case for years now, but when he truly decides to get downhill and get to the rim, his touch around the rim and his ability to get into those positions where his touch is effective is just at such a higher level than it has been, obviously earlier in his career. Last night, he fucked up Tyler Hero, like getting himself to the rim late in the game. Maybe one of those shots where he was trying to repair his field goal percentage to some degree, but that's like a high effort look. I don't care who's guarding you. And just to see him to be able to get to that when he feels motivated to do so to such a high degree, at such a high frequency is really impressive. So Jason Tatum, unsurprisingly, your Eastern Conference Player of the Month. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA Cup that is no longer. That is a total sham as a concept that we should never have cared about, and we shooting ourselves in the foot and hating on ourselves and Adam Silver a little bit for ever feeling any form of care about it. But first, a quick word from our friends over at Game Time.
Game Time, yes, it's really a full circle moment with Payton Pritchard and Game Time for me. My only ever Celtics game, Game 2 of the Brooklyn Nets series when the Celtics made their run to the finals. Game 2, if you remember, Celtics down 17. Payton Pritchard helped spark the comeback. One of the greatest moments of my life. I was levitating above TD Garden, I'm pretty sure, while that run was happening. But yeah, sure, Game Time has tickets to everything, including to see our king, Drake May. But the real show in Boston right now is Payton Pritchard. You can go see the Big PP tomorrow for as little as $35 against the Detroit Pistons, or as little as $82 against the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday night. Game Time has it all. Curated deals, seat views before you buy, lowest price guarantees, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Event cancellation protection, job protection loss, and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms will apply. Again, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Shout out Game Time. Shout out the CLNS Network for presenting the First to the Floor YouTube show, audio podcast, and obviously the many other awesome and amazing shows under the CLNS media umbrella, including Noah Dalzell, who has her own podcast now, who Indeed. I feel like we need to shout out because of her long ago Payton Pritchard takes that are now coming to fruition amazingly.
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Why not? The platform is available to anybody. If they want to sing PP's praises from the top of a hill, then this is the podcast for that. But the NBA Cup date, I don't know.
That's
essentially,
good.
We're
I like
out.
the cup date.
Well, it's too late, Jake. We're fucked. We're fucking out of the thing. Doesn't matter. The puns, it's too late. The whole thing's shit. What are your thoughts?
We streamed the games today on playback, and it was really fun. I will say, I think the cup is fun, especially this last day where everyone's battling for the wild card seed. You're looking at point differential. The NBA had a live seedings tracker, and coming into the day, we thought that the clear path was Magic beat Knicks and Bucks win by at least 6. We got the Bucks winning by 6 easily. They smoked the Pistons. But the opposite almost happened, where we needed the Knicks, if they were going to win, to beat the Magic by by more than 36, so 37 or more points. And there was a moment there where they were up by 37 points and the Celtics were into the next round. But the problem was always going to be that there was not really an incentive for the Knicks to kick the Magic out of the playoffs. Out of this cup. I will say you could argue they are cowards, because if they think they are true contenders for a Larry O'Brien trophy, they should have been trying to push the Magic out and bring in the Boston Celtics. Because you could argue that them benching their starters was an admission that they'd prefer to not have the Boston Celtics at the NBA Cup knockout rounds, because that gives them a better chance. So they didn't want the smoke because they're losers. That's the way I'm deciding to look at it. But look, I'm a bit disappointed, but the schedule has broken very nicely for the Celtics after it, so we'll take it.
Well, yeah, and from the Knicks' perspective, the lost opportunity to make the Celtics play an extra game as well, and go upon extra travel to Vegas. But yeah, I don't think they were really thinking that way. They was thinking about them damn selves, those Knicks fans. But we've now stumbled upon an easier schedule back to the championship-bound 82-game season away from that pesky, annoying, and fraudulent NBA Cup. So the two makeup games, Thursday, 12th of December, at home versus the dominant Detroit Pistons, and then Sunday, the 15th December, at the even more dominant Washington Wizards. As far as like two makeup games where you can really boost your regular season schedule, couldn't have asked for a better outcome there, Jake.
Dude, obviously you get the rest as well, and I'm guessing a lot of teams are getting that type of rest because the cup games are going to be played in the days that the Celtics have off. But you come out of this 5 games and 7 night stretch, you have that back-to-back, and then you get 4 days off, and then you get 2 more days off, and the 2 teams you have to play are the Pistons and the Wizards. Like, that's awesome. Great news for the Boston Celtics team. Like I've been kind of saying the cup's good because then it gets more exciting games. We just get the more exciting games, but we don't have to have the Celtics risk losing any of them. So this is like, as someone that was clearly the most cup-pilled of anyone on this podcast, I have to admit that this probably is definitely better for our chances at Larry O'Brien, even if it's like a 0.9% improvement on our chances. I think it's hard to argue that like avoiding an extra game, not playing against Giannis and his perpetuating elbows into Jaylen Brown's head and fullback dives into people's knees and stuff like that. Avoiding that is definitely good. And the Warriors are through, which means you avoid any Draymond. The Rockets are in. They're dirty, not dirty. They're physical. So you replace any of those matchups with the Pistons and the Wizards, I'll take it.
Well, yeah, and a 0.9% increase to our chances of finishing with a high regular season record. That's winning on the margins. That's Joe Mazzulla shit. You love to hear it, love to see it. Now we're gonna wrap up with, this is coming out of the Miami Heat game. We've got some Heat Schadenfreude, and for that, of course, we've got to intro the very famous, the very wonderful Schadenfreude report.
Sarah, I cannot believe.
Jake, what's going on? The Miami Heat, a little butthurt from what I hear online after another defeat, blowout at the hands of the Boston Celtics. What's going on with the Heat?
Yeah, I'm not even sure if you can call it butthurt or what. Like, it was just acceptance, like that the rivalry is over. And we had a few tweets here. It really felt like over. Luke Cornett was like straight up outplayed Bam Adebayo. And obviously no Jimmy Butler again. But like they lost to the Raptors the night previous with Jimmy Butler before they were down before he even hurt his knee. So got a few tweets here from a few notable Miami Heat Twitter people that I thought were entertaining. What a brutal end to a rivalry that used to be great. Pat Riley should be ashamed of himself. Watch your biggest rival add talent every year and win a championship while you keep the same roster for 6 years. Anyone that still defends that man in 2024 is a fucking loser.
You hate to see that.
You hate to see it.
Disdain from Heat fans.
You could not feel more opposite about Brad Stevens if you're a Celtics fan. I do think that run to the finals that the Celtics, where they lost to them in the conference finals, where they went down 0-3, kind of was a good thing in the long run. One, it led to the Kristaps and Drew trades. 2, it led to Pat Riley and the Heat thinking that they were a lot better than they were. Because I think that is a thing that happened, because that was a complete fluke, complete devil magic run, and they convinced themselves that they were in a place that they weren't. They were an 8 seed. There was a reason you were an 8 seed 2 years in a row, and now probably 3 or 4, like forever now. So we had to deal with the devil magic of Caleb Martin in one of the more painful experiences of literally my entire life, but it may have actually been a good thing.
The pain was very difficult at the time. I think we all remember. And obviously now we've won the title. The Heat have not. All's well that ends well. But I'll never forget the pain of watching Caleb Martin just like bury threes at such a high clip all series long. At least the Derek White tip-in play is now out of the Chamber of Secrets. So a podcast we're yet to do the full unleashing of the cracking open of the Chamber of Secrets. But we'll get to it at some point, maybe in the off-season. Anything else from a Schadenfreude perspective?
So another Heat person. This game is so sad. Celtics fans not even talking shit. It's not even fun for them. They'd probably feel bad for Heat fans. This is just brutal. Love to see that. We got one more here. Emo Jimmy at Heat Culture 13, which is beautiful. Celtics fans. The rivalry was good. Fun battles these last 5 years. You won. We just simply don't have enough to win a series versus y'all this year. Time for us Heat fans to move on to a new rival. With all that being said, Wizards fans, where y'all at? Come outside. And it's just a picture of Bam Adebayo holding a photoshopped gun. Yeah, man, they are going through it after that game. And that does make the Heat 2-10 in their last 12 games against the Boston Celtics.
Damn, you hate to see it. The Heat fans going through it. I personally feel absolutely no remorse for them or sadness or any sympathy at all. I think fuck those guys is a message I've been carrying in my heart for a long time now. So this is where you deserve to end up, very much in line with Sixers fans as well, which we can circle back on the Sixers in a future Schadenfreude pod. But Heat fans, this has been a long time coming. What can I say?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I hope it continues. I hope they just drive themselves further and further into the ground. I love it.
Yeah. Upcoming schedule very quickly here. The Pistons tomorrow, like today, I guess, is our Boston-based listeners are waking up and hopefully tuning in and hitting that like button and subscribing and stealing their families' phones and subscribing there as well. Pistons tomorrow, I guess the big call out, you've added this to the run sheet, Jake. Should Jason Tatum finally rest against the Pistons team where if Derek and Jalen are back to stay, finally this is an instance where we could probably reasonably rest Jason Tatum?
I think he should rest. I would be surprised if he does rest. And now that I've seen the schedule with the revised NBA Cup stuff, the fact that they have all his rest next week leads me to believe that he will not be resting for the Pistons game, which it's whatever. He won't play hard minutes tomorrow. And
Active rest.
But that's kind of the annoying thing, I think, is he doesn't excuse me. He plays like shit when he tries to get active rest most of the time. And it's you're just hurting yourself, I think. And when you've got when you've got Al, it kind of made sense in the Heat game because you don't have Al and KP. You got Derek, Jalen. I would like Drew to rest as well, by the way. But you've got Derek, Jalen, Al, and KP, and Pritchard, and Hauser. Those 6 is more than enough to beat the Detroit Pistons. So it's just just take the days off. I'm if I had to guess, I would say Drew is still out and Tatum plays, but I'm hopeful that they're both out.
Yeah, if I had to choose someone I'd prefer to rest, it's still Drew, just because of his age and the need to preserve his abilities to the playoffs. But I think Tatum's due, man. Give him a rest, especially after that Heat game where he was kind of dog shit. Maybe give him a rest, and especially the 2 games we've got coming up subsequently, which is against the Bucks and then the Grizzlies, a back-to-back. Are you I know this will be the first game if Marcus is still healthy at that point that we actually play against Marcus Smart. Do you have any anxiety about facing Marcus Smart for real? Now we're actually going to witness it from the the opposition perspective and his diving on the floor, all the first of the floor stuff, diving into legs and
I
knees
didn't
and stuff.
until you mentioned it. As soon as you started talking, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, sorry.
I watched a good chunk of the Grizzlies Mavericks game tonight. Definitely looks a little like he lost at least half a step.
Yeah.
And he kind of did the Marcus Smart thing at the end of this Mavs game. He fouled Luka Doncic 90 feet from the basket when the Mavs were in the bonus. Couple of ill-advised quick shots. Just when you have a lead. Does this sound familiar? You have a lead in the fourth quarter. Marcus Smart just tries to do a little too much, and you end up choking the game away. It's exactly what happened tonight. And I was like, and he just didn't quite have the juice.
Yeah,
but
right.
it wasn't all his fault, no doubt about it. But like, it was a little reminder. And to be fair, Drew has had his fair share of those moments this season and last season as well. But yeah, I will definitely be preferring Marcus Smart to stay on his feet more often than not.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see him. But this Bucks game, I think, as well, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the front end of the back-to-back. Bucks have improved slightly. They've been winning more games lately than losing. Dame seems to have figured things out, skill-wise and conditioning-wise. Giannis is like just absolutely beasting again, even to like a higher degree than the last couple of seasons as well. So while the Bucks have kind of found their rhythm here a little bit, this might be one of the bigger tests for the Celtics that we've faced in the last week or so.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, we obviously had the Cavs game. The Bucks have absolutely steadied the ship here. There's no sign of Middleton coming back anytime soon, which is weird, and would be very concerning if I was a Bucks fan. But they have also had a very, very easy schedule. But that is kind of the life as a good team in the Eastern Conference at the moment. Is like, unless you're playing the Celtics, the Cavs, or the Bucks, or the Magic, there's like 5 teams. So there's 10 other teams that you're kind of comfortable playing night in, night out for the most part.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it. I think we can leave it there. Shout out to Payton Pritchard and the many forms of Payton Pritchard. That is going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake, you got any like scheduled shows coming up, like playbacks, other pods, instant reactions? What's coming up this week for you? So
I did say in the playback today that I'll be doing the playback tomorrow, but I did forget that I actually have to work tomorrow during the game. So
right.
I will still be able to I'll be doing instant reactions. And then we should have Greeny lined up for late night tomorrow night. Is the plan.
Huge fan of the show, Dan Greenberg, a.k.a. Greeny from Barstool Sports. All right, folks, subscribe to our YouTube. We're really close to 10K subscribers now, which just still feels crazy to say out loud. Leave us a comment and we'll get back to you. Hit that like button. Jake, love your work, mate. Until next time, go Celts.